Welcome back to Mock Draft Madness, day 48 of doing a mock draft every single day until the NFL draft on April 25th. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. We are a week away. I could not be more excited. A little bit of news broke today. Nothing too crazy, just a little bit of talk from the Patriots side of things. So I'm going to go Caleb Williams 1, and then I'm going to go Jaden Daniels 2. Now, Elliott Wolf, who is kind of the de facto GM for the New England Patriots, came out and said today that if they get a good offer, that they'd be willing to trade out because there are a lot of holes, and he understands. He said the more picks, the better. So in this scenario, I'm going to have the Patriots trading out with the Minnesota Vikings. I think they have the most draft capital to be able to move up. I think it is probably going to take three first-round picks to move up. So we're going to offer that trade through. It is accepted, and the Vikings are not going to hesitate to take a talented quarterback in Drake Maye, who in my opinion will be going probably to the best situation in football. He'll be playing under Kevin O'Connell. He'll have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, a pretty good O-line, and he doesn't have to play right away. They have Sam Darnold, a player who, you know, if you're looking at it, could potentially be, I don't know if he'd be amazing, but I think he would be serviceable this year. And it gives Drake Maye some time to develop. He's not a player where, you want him playing the whole year, but he's someone you can rely on for a couple weeks. At number 4, we have the Arizona Cardinals. I think they could potentially trade out here. I think in this scenario, they'll probably stay put. I think if the Vikings were able to offer what they offered to the Patriots for the 4th, I think that would get it done. But now we have the Arizona Cardinals, and they're just going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. So now the Los Angeles Chargers are in an interesting spot because I do think there is a possibility that the Chargers take a lineman here. I do think, as much as they need a wide receiver, I do think they'll probably go with O-line. And I think 5 could be a spot where one of these teams trades up for a wide receiver. I could also see them sticking and picking. This team does need some help. So I think they would benefit from moving back. And, a team that may want to move up could potentially be, the Giants, the Broncos, the Raiders. But at the end of the day, I find it hard to believe moving all the way up to the 5, because if you're thinking about the Raiders, right, they have a second-round pick, so they could probably make it happen. They got a first-round pick. They can probably make it happen. The Giants could also take J.J. McCarthy. I think in this mock draft, I'm going to pass up on that scenario. I did that yesterday, I believe. I had them swap picks. But you got to think, like, the Broncos could trade up, but they also don't have a second this year. So they have less ammunition than you do, and you could probably wait it out because what they'd have to pay to get up to 5 would be really, really big. And I think the Raiders could beat them out pretty much any offer they have. So at number 5, I think I'm going to have them stick and pick, and I'm going to go Joe Alt. I know he is a left tackle, and I know they have Rashawn Slater, but if you're able to put Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt on that same line and make him work at right tackle, you might have the best tackle duo in the league, and it wouldn't even be close. At number 6, to the New York Giants, I am going to have them taking, it's going to be one of these two receivers. I heard they are also a sneaky O-line team. I don't love the idea of Joe Alt going there just because of what they've invested in the O-line. I don't really like an O-line pick. I understand why they would do it. But in this scenario, I'm going to have them go with one of the pass catchers. I'm going to go with Rome Odunze. I usually have them going with Malik Neighbors. At number 7, we have the Tennessee Titans because they're in an interesting spot now because they were in prime position to take Joe Alt if the Chargers didn't take him. I would say the Chargers are probably the only team they got to worry about outside of a team trading up. So now I think this is interesting because we have J.J. McCarthy on the board here. And I think with Joe Alt off the table, I think the Titans become way more likely to trade down. So if we're looking at a team that might want to trade up for one of these receivers, or even J.J. McCarthy, it's probably going to be one of these two teams. And I think even though the Raiders are more looking and have like the draft capital to move up, I do think that the Broncos will be a little bit more desperate because of the fact that Sean Payton is there. So I'm going to give them maybe around 2 next year. I think that might work for them. Give me 146, 106. I think that's probably a fair trade. So I'm going to offer that trade through. And now the Broncos are on the clock, and they are going to take J.J. McCarthy, which honestly puts Tennessee in a better spot to take an offensive lineman at 12. At number 8, we have the Atlanta Falcons. While I do think they will probably, they need edge. As much as Malik Neighbors would be amazing for them, I think going edge here is probably their best bet. I could also see them trading back, but with a guy, I'm going to actually go Byron Murphy because they need help on the D-line. I know you guys need an edge, but at the end of the day, Byron Murphy is probably going to go higher than most people think, and I do think he could be a top 10 pick. At number 9, in this scenario, I'm going to have the Bears going Malik Neighbors. You need a succession plan for once Keenan Allen leaves. He's only got 1 year on his deal. He hasn't been extended yet. And my kind of thought process on this is if the Bears aren't able to get a pass catcher at 9, they will probably extend Keenan Allen. But I would assume they probably want to get a cheaper option to pair with Caleb and for him to develop. At number 10, we have the New York Jets on the clock. I am going to have them taking Brock Bowers. They need a weapon outside of Garrett Wilson. They have Mike Williams as well. I think this would complement the team very nicely, and if you're trying to win in the next 2 years, this is a very, very good option. Obviously, that leaves the O-line in a tough spot where if someone gets injured, you don't necessarily have like a great backup, but you got to take risks, and this is the risk that they're taking. At number 11, we also have picks 23 and 34. So I'll probably run the draft to pick 34 or 35 today just to play out this scenario. So now with the New England Patriots on the clock, I think what they can do is there's a lot of options in what they could do. They could go O-line. The top receivers are gone. They could take an edge. But I think at this position, what they can do is they can take a guy like Olu Fashanu, who can be their starting left tackle for the next 5 to 10 years. At number 12, we have the Tennessee Titans. Now looking at the offensive tackle position, I think Fautanu could be good for them. I think Latham could be really good for them. I do like the idea of a Talisa Fuanga because he's someone that can play guard, he can play tackle, and he's really aggressive in the run game. I know they're probably going to be throwing more in the Tennessee offense, but I do like his upside even in the pass game. So 12 to the Titans makes sense. At number 13, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. I think now that the kind of quarterbacks are out of the way, I think they don't need to worry about taking one in the first round because Nix or Penix will probably be there in the second. But, who knows? At number 13, Raiders, Jerzon Newton is sitting here. He looks really nice for them, even though they just signed Christian Wilkins. I do like Terran Arnold. I do know they need a right tackle, so I'm actually going to go J.C. Latham, and he can also play guard as well. I think it gives them versatility, probably the strongest player in the draft, and you got to build that O-line. While I do think their secondary is kind of rough, I think an upgrade at the right tackle position and play opposite side of Colton Miller will do them wonders, regardless of who is playing quarterback this year. At number 14, we have the New Orleans Saints on the clock. They need offensive line. They need defensive line. I am actually going to give them Dallas Turner. I think, I haven't had Dallas Turner mocked to the Saints a lot, but I think he could be a good addition for that team. They are getting a little bit older on the defensive side and need to implement some youth, and I think he is very young, 21 years old. He has time to develop. He's a freak athlete, and I think he could fit well with the Saints. At number 15, we have the Indianapolis Colts. They're in a tough position because I think wide receiver would really, really benefit them, but at the same time, they do need cornerbacks, so I'm going to give them Terrion Arnold. At number 16, we have the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to see if anyone wants to trade up here because I just think with the way that the Seahawks are built, they do want to go with, an interior offensive lineman. I think that is more crucial than what they have on defense. But even adding a guy like Laiatu Latu or Jared Verse to their defense could be really, really beneficial for them. So So while I think Verse is on the table for them, I do think they are a prime trade back candidate, or they could even be one of the teams that is looking at Michael Penix. To have a succession plan to Geno Smith, they know more about him than really anybody in the draft because, Washington's right there. University of Washington is right there. So I'm actually going to go Michael Penix here. I know it's kind of it would be more of a sleeper pick. I don't know how likely it is, but I did want to mix up the draft, and I think that's what I'm going to do with the next quarterback as well. At number 17, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I do think they need corner help. And with Quinyon Mitchell here, it kind of becomes hard to pass up. I also think Nate Wiggins could play there. I guess my thing is they do need a lot of help all over the place. It's not like desperate anywhere, but cornerback room would probably be the room that I would expect them to address kind of early. Maybe with their second round pick, they can go grab a wide receiver. At number 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. They need tackle. They need offensive line, and I think Fautanu could be a good addition for them because he can play tackle once Trent Brown leaves. He can play all 5 positions, and you immediately upgrade the left guard spot, so he's not going to sit. Like, he'll play right away, and then you also have a succession plan at tackle next year if you don't re-sign Trent Brown or address the position. At number 19, we have the Los Angeles Rams on the clock, and what I'm going to do is I am going to trade back with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to give up 32, 64, and 19. And I think this might get it done. You move back a lot. It may be 95, and they give me 154 is brutal. Maybe we give them a third next year. Tennessee's third next year. And they'll give us, I don't know, like 154. I think I'm going to force that trade through. And the Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock here, and they are going to take Brian Thomas Jr. They need help desperately at the wide receiver position, and I think when you're a team that can win the Super Bowl with the talent that you had last year at the wide receiver position, you don't worry as much about those picks that you're moving. At number 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they need wide receiver, they need tackle, they need center. And I think, I'm going to give them Graham Barton, a guy who can play all 5 positions on the offensive line. He can play center for you, you can play tackle. You can really slot him in wherever you need him. 21 to the Miami Dolphins. They need defensive interior. I also think they could use edge rushers. O-line is desperate need as well. I think, what we could do here is a little bit of a reach, actually a big reach, but I'm okay taking it. I'm going to give them Xavier Worthy. Imagine that speed on that offense. Like, I don't know how you'd guard it between Waddle, Hill, and Worthy. And the thing is, the Dolphins really don't have that many years left with Tyreek Hill, and you're going to have to extend Tua. So you're going to have to be playing the salary cap here game soon. So Xavier Worthy could be a succession plan for Tyreek Hill. At number 22, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. I am going to give them Cooper DeJean, someone who can play safety, he can play corner, play any of those positions. At number 23, I have the New England Patriots on the clock. We had them taking Olu Fashanu earlier. There's a lot of good options here. They do have the 34th pick, so I could see them adding a receiver. And honestly, adding a guy like a Jared Verse to that defense or a Leatu Latu could be a great addition. So you right now you have Olu Fashanu and Leatu Latu and also the 34th pick of the draft. You could be loading up on talent. At number 24, we have the Dallas Cowboys. I've had them going Adonai Mitchell, but I do really like the addition of a Nate Wiggins to that cornerback room. But I think also with the line troubles that they're having, getting a replacement for Tyler Biadasz with Jackson Powers-Johnson seems like a very good value pick. Jerzon Newton is available for the Green Bay Packers, and I think that is probably where they'll go if they're not going to go cornerback. I think it is a defensive addition, unless they're going to take a first-round receiver or O-line, which they typically never do. I do see it probably being a defensive player. At number 26, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think we're in an interesting spot here because, They could use an edge. They also could use offensive line help. Or a corner help, but with the talent in Jared Verse, it just becomes hard to pass up at 26. 27 to the Arizona Cardinals. We added Marvin Harrison Jr. earlier. I think Amarius Mims could be a good addition for them. I do think also Nate Wiggins. Here's my thing with Mims is if he's able to sit behind Jonah Williams or even beat him out for the starting spot and you pair him with Paris Johnson Jr., the beauty of Amarius Mims is he can play both sides of the ball. He can play right tackle, he can play left tackle, and if you give him that time to develop, he can be that guy. He's less raw and more inexperienced, I would say. At number 28, we have the Buffalo Bills. They desperately need wide receiver help, so I'm going to give them Adonai Mitchell out of Texas. 29 to the Detroit Lions. Nate Wiggins, based on pure talent, he put on some weight. I think he could be a great addition for the Lions. 30 to the Baltimore Ravens. I had them going Troy Franklin here yesterday. They do need edge help. They need cornerback help. They need O-line. They need a lot of things. I think corner is a need. I do think wide receiver is a little bit more desperate. And I think, pairing a guy like I really like Keon Coleman to pair with Zay Flowers. I think giving a big body to Lamar outside of Mark Andrews, who's kind of had injury concerns, could be a good addition. Now, I could see them moving back and potentially adding him, but, it's really kind of what you want. I like Troy Franklin, but I just don't see that physicality that Keon Coleman has, that dog, I guess, that Keon Coleman has. 31 to the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm going to take Tyler Guyton here, and here's why. Guyton is a project, but the thing with Guyton is he has really good tape. He's just inconsistent with the tape. So you already see what's there. So if you're able to coach out the bad tape, you're getting a really, really good tackle to replace Trent Williams or Colton McKivitz, whoever that is. And you can have the whole year for him to develop. At number 32, we have the Los Angeles Rams. Now, they have 2 second-round picks. So I'm going to have them taking Bo Nix. They get 5 years with Bo Nix to develop under Matt Stafford and Sean McVay. You have Puka Nacua. You have Cooper Kupp. You have Tyler Higbee. I know he's not anything crazy, but you're putting him into a great situation. And you have a cheap quarterback to build your roster around. With that Aaron Donald contract on, you're going to have a lot of money. I think this could honestly be the best spot for Bo Nix. Or any like Shanahan, McVay type offense. At number 33, we have the Carolina Panthers. They need receiver. They need center. They need corner. So I'm actually going to go Cooley McKinstry here because I think the talent for him is really, really good. And I think, that is something that it will instantly impact the team. They can get wide receiver at 39. I think Kool-Aid will probably come off the board before 39. 34 to the New England Patriots. I said I'll go to a pick 35 this time around just because I wanted to play out the Patriots trade. They have Leatu Latu. They have Olu Fashanu. And then, adding a guy like a Troy Franklin, that is a haul. And something you want to look at as well as before I make the last pick of the draft this year, or this mock. Where am I missing the New England Patriots? Where am I missing it? Okay. They have 2 firsts next year, so they can continue to build. 35 to the Arizona Cardinals. I think at this position, you've added Amarius Mims, you've added Marvin Harrison Jr. Let's add Chop Robinson. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Mock Draft Madness Day 48. We got 7 days left until the NFL Draft. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. Like I said, we got one more 2-round mock coming. We got a 3-round mock coming. And then I'll do the final 1-round mock on the day of the draft. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.